welcome back to MaxBet Podcast. We're here with Katie DeStefano, who is the marketing director at Vegas Kings. But before your journey with Vegas Kings and with the other companies that you've worked in, something that you've consistently done across the board is be like the first OG B2B gaming influencer. I don't know if you know that. This is your
No,
title.
I
I'm
didn't know
not
that.
sure if you're aware, but that is a title that I call you.
Oh, thank you.
But that's how I really noticed you is because of your posting on LinkedIn. And it was about just like relevant things happening in the industry. And then through that, I learned about your company that you were with at the time and things like that. And so I just feel like that's such an underrated aspect of LinkedIn that not a lot of employers really tap into or really see the potential on. But I can tell you so many people have been like, "Oh, I know Katie. Yeah, because she's on LinkedIn, right?" And that's just totally how they connect you. But how did you even determine that you wanted to get started doing that? Like, how did that develop to get into LinkedIn and posting there?
It was actually during the pandemic or just before. Let's say like this. I think I was late to the LinkedIn game. So I got LinkedIn in 2018 or 2019
Mhm.
because I noticed in the office that I was in at the time, everyone had LinkedIn open during office hours. Like I understand you're not allowed to have like Facebook open or Instagram or like Reddit, whatever.
Yeah.
But everyone had LinkedIn and I didn't understand why because there was no gambling content. Nothing. Like there was barely that the gambling newspapers published their news on LinkedIn like they do today. Now they have to do every single news on LinkedIn. But back in the day, it was like maybe we'll do the headline news like once a week or something like that.
Right.
And yeah, I started hanging out on LinkedIn like everyone else, but I was just missing why anyone wasn't doing gambling content because I started to seeing other creators, especially in the US, that was talking about like personal branding and how it can change your life and everything like that.
Mhm.
And it didn't really come into effect until the pandemic. I was working with Hard Rock in Atlantic City at the time. I'd been doing it for 4 years. And in 2021, they told me that unfortunately they have to end my contract in 6 months. So I should start preparing. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Because I'm also based in Spain. And working remotely for the last couple of years towards the US, like no one knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to make sure people, especially in the US, know who I am. And I get a job there again, like, but can still work remotely. So that's how I started out. And in the beginning, I was doing videos. That was my main thing. I was trying to take the typical TikTok videos, which was also very popular at the time, and doing, my top 3 CRM platforms or my top 3 campaigns
Mhm.
and it blew up because no, again, no one was doing content for the gambling industry, and it went really fast. I think within a couple of months, I got my first speaking panel, which was in New York during iGaming Next, their debut conference, and it was huge. And it from then just been like rolling on until now. I've been going. What is it? 5 years. It's 2026.
Oh my
5 years. Yeah.
God. God.
And I mean, in the last year, it's developed so much that I've gotten a lot of sponsorship opportunities, sponsored trips. So it's been amazing. And the thing with LinkedIn and like being able to do marketing there is that we're all very like in a small industry. Everyone
Yes.
knows everyone, and if you don't know, like most people hire within small groups.
Right.
So if they don't know you, don't have a reputation, the likelihood of you getting a project is very, very small.
Right.
So for me, I think I was able to show on LinkedIn what I'm really good at, what I'm passionate about, and then I got hired for projects through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is such a good point, what you said about how if people don't know you, they're not going to hire you.
Hmm.
I feel like at some point in your career, you just find out like nobody's coming to save you. Like
Yes.
nobody's going to find you like a diamond in the rough. They're not going to do that. You're not just waiting to be found. You really need to put yourself out there and
Mm.
actually like pretty much sell yourself and promote yourself and what you are good at and what you do well and be in those conversations, because if you're not, nobody's going to know and nobody's going to pick
Exactly.
you.
Yeah. No, but it's also like you have to find the right balance, I think, as well. Because
Right.
I think you probably see now in the last couple of years, everyone does LinkedIn now. Like it's not only me. Like now it's so I think every single one kind of has to announce that we're here for ICE now, for example, or
Right.
something like that. But unfortunately, I think it can also become too much, and it can also be that some people go in and how do I say it, like put politics or personal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you
Yeah.
understand? So you have to find that balance where it's still like a journey where you can build your brand and people can follow you and support you, but also like show a passion without hurting, other companies or brands.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, yeah, finding what you can share that's still, the word is like so overused, but really authentic to you and not just, I feel like there's so many personal brands out there now that you read their comment, like their captions, and it's just like AI sludge. And you're like,
Yeah,
oh God, I know that you did this and then you scheduled this post and then, you're probably never going to think about it again.
yeah. Mm,
So I don't love that. I think some people kind of lose that piece of it, and they are, even maybe a little too formal on it, but I think you do a really good balance of being yourself but also adding value.
thank you. I think for me, it's a long-term game as well. Like I want to be in the gambling industry until I die. Like I'm not even gonna retire. Like I see myself like when I'm retirement age, that I'm still gonna be on board, still like involved.
Right.
So if I'm gonna be this like person in the industry that everyone's going to know for a long time, like I have to be careful with my relationships. And I think again, going back to that, it is a small industry, like it's super important that you don't burn any bridges in that way. Unfortunately, I mean, it's also a very money hungry industry, like it's a lot of money on stake. People want to get as much of that cut as they can, so you
Yeah.
got to be careful like who you trust and who you let in on your projects.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you've been a great help for me because you were like my first, I think you were like my first industry friend. And I say that very proudly.
Oh.
Because I saw you on LinkedIn when I started. I was super late to the game. I want to say it was like 2022. I think I like made my first LinkedIn, which is, I don't know. I just never saw a need for it before. And then I was like, I'm gonna get really good at this. And then I started following people. I started seeing you post and I was like, okay, she's doing something a little bit different, not just like I'm pleased to announce kind of post, you know what I mean? And so I think I slipped into your DMs at some point and I was like, "You're doing a great job. Also, how do you do that?" And you were a huge help connecting me with people. And I think that's really what it's about, like you said, just being we're all in this industry and it's very small.
Mhm.
But yeah, being careful who you align yourself with, but also like you're really good about bringing other people up with you, which I think
Yeah.
says a lot.
I mean, in that way, it makes me super proud that you say that I was your first LinkedIn friend, because I am super proud of you and the journey you have done in the last
Um,
couple of years. And like, I think I was saying even before, like you started commenting on me or like we started messaging, that I was like, who is this girl? Like, she is so cool. And it's like you were doing what I was doing, but from the US, and I haven't seen anyone else do it. And you had even more knowledge because you were like on the floor. I'm always been more like online. I haven't really had that
yeah.
experience. So thank you so much. I really agree. But also one thing that really drew me to you, and I think that a lot of people is like with me, is that I'm a woman. There's not a lot of women in our industry. It's a man dominated industry, unfortunately, or not unfortunately. I'm not saying
You
that.
know what? Sometimes it is
Yeah,
unfortunate. You know
but
what?
also like I've learned to love it. Like
Yeah.
I'm always like, especially now where I work, like I've been treated as a queen, and it's been fantastic. But I think that was something I was lacking before. So I've been in the industry almost 15 years now. And back in the day, like when I have two kids, when I had my first kid, I just felt like I had no real role models that I could look up to. That was women.
Right.
All of them were men. And it took me a long, long, long time until I actually found like women that I could relate to that weren't cutthroat. I'm not cutthroat. Like I'm very sensitive. I've always been like a little bit on the outside, or how to say, like, and not like the other girls, but I've still needed a female perspective, someone who's like being a mother, who can climb up like the ranks, who can
Mhm.
also manage a company and home life and everything. And yeah, I think not that I'm saying that I should be their role model. But I realized if I am, I can also talk about that is not easy.
Right.
It's not like a dance on roses. I actually don't really believe in work-life balance. Like it's not something you can find from day to day. You have to have one day that is more work and one day that is more life, you know. It's not going to be the time wise or a calendar. But that's just my 2 cents. But I also appreciate seeing how you work, like how you figure it out with your family, how other women do it, and seeing you climb now with this podcast and in Las Vegas. Like it's so cool. And yeah, I want to help you and more other people like climb as well.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. You're very good at what you do. So you've been in the industry for 15 years now?
Hmm.
Okay. Love that. Love that. What's something in the industry right now that you think marketing teams they're getting right?
I think the marketing teams, especially in the US, when it comes to prediction markets, have really picked up when it comes to influencer marketing. Like they're on all the micro influencers, even. Like they're really great in finding new acquisition channels, which is super important right now with AI and like all the changes in Google. I think influencer marketing has become huge. And every time I'm like finding these small viral videos, a couple of days after, there's a prediction market T-shirt on them, or like it goes so
Mm,
fast.
hmm.
And that is something I think marketers, especially in the prediction market like angle, is doing great.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. What do you think some teams are missing the mark on?
So not necessarily only that this is like the marketing team's fault,
Hmm.
but maybe it's more like in general the industry, but it's so much focus on acquisition. It
Yes.
needs to be like, I
Yeah.
feel like we've been saying this 10 years now. Why is no one listening? And we're entering a recession now. Like, we have to make sure that we take care of the players that we already have. For some reason, a lot of operators, and I think it's more operators than the marketing teams, they don't put any budgets in retention. It's like zero in retention and like millions in acquisition.
Right.
And that I think is absolutely the wrong way to go. It's just going to cost them a lot more. And I think it's the operators who actually take care of their players that are succeeding and managing to keep their players long term. But everyone knows as well, like players usually have 3 to 4 operators that they use like at the same time, just to compare like campaigns and like treatments and whatever. And I think like in the next couple of years they're probably going to go even smaller and just have 1 or 2. So it's
Yeah.
super important that now is the time. Change your like schedule, implement gamification. Like that is something I think a lot of marketing teams and operators are sleeping on. I know gamification costs a lot, but it is so much cheaper in long term to run it than building so many different campaigns on and on and on. And I think as well with gamification, you're able to personalize it in another way, which I'm really missing right now when it comes to retention team, that they're trying to narrow it down to the person's interests, what are the games. Like everyone talks about generally putting them in segments, but I don't, it shouldn't be segments, it should be individuals, I believe.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've worked a long time in retention, and that's maybe why I'm more into that. But I've also worked in affiliation and like acquisition. It's huge. Everyone, thinks about the more they're seen, the bigger they are, but that's not always the case.
Yeah.
The same goes for LinkedIn.
That's and not the truth. Yeah, because we all know it costs more to get new customers than to keep the ones you currently have.
Yeah,
Like the churn and burn is real
yeah.
and it's pretty exhausting.
Yeah, but that's why, like, again, going now back to gamification, I think that is fantastic because you're able to do so many different types of games that you put your own branding on, and you can even make it like the player's branding, kind of.
Hmm.
Let's say you do something that is focused on. Oh, I want to say astronaut, but that's not the right word. Sorry, like my English is not best. Astronomy.
Ah, so close.
Yeah.
You were so close.
Yeah, but if you focus on astronomy, like let's say you do a game for all the Tauruses, Capricorns, yada yada, or like you have a special birthday on the 23rd and you only get access to this game, like
Yeah,
you can make it so they feel like it's only me that has this.
right.
And yes, like again, like it takes some time to set it up, but once you have it, like it can be long run and it can be amazing. And I really believe you can earn a lot more money for less investment.
Yeah, I would agree. Starbucks does this really well with their app. They do like with the stars, you can earn more stars if you do this or whatever. Like the
Mm-mm.
gamification aspect is real.
Mm.
Um, that I see in like my day-to-day life. I'm like, all right, that was a good one. I'm not a big like app user, so
Uh-huh.
it's like it makes a difference that that can hold my attention,
Mm,
right?
I've seen a lot of more fashion brands that when I'm shopping
Ah,
that
okay.
does like, log in every day and you get like points, or like spin the wheel and you get a voucher and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But it's in all different industries. I
right.
think, unfortunately, the gambling industry is a little bit late
Hmm.
when it comes to that. But again, I think in our industry, when not only when it comes to gamification, but in general, we have to be very careful. Like, we're one of the most audited industries in the world, like right up there with like banking and alcohol and like tobacco
Yeah,
and all of that. So the regulation really stifles us a lot. I think when it comes like to innovation, we talk about this a lot, that we're not able to do maybe all the marketing campaigns we want to do or create the games we want to create. And like because of that, other industries like fashion are able to push another type of engagement.
right. That's true. We do have a lot more roadblocks
Hmm.
than other people do. Going back to your influencer life really fast.
Yeah.
I have another question I had. So obviously you go to all these conventions and conferences like
Hmm.
we're here in Barcelona at ICE right now. What do you wish they had more of when it comes to marketers? Like when you think about like a young marketer coming in, they, are pretty much in like booth jail if they have a booth. They're not really leaving a whole
Mm.
lot. But then, at G2E, they do have now like marketing tracks and things like that. And Next, I think, does as well. But what would you say would be super helpful um, to help those younger marketers, especially with all of the tough regulations and things like that?
I think, especially if you're strapped to a booth, like you won't be able to see the different panels that are available and stuff. So it would be
Yeah.
great if there was some way that that was recorded and uploaded a lot faster, maybe.
Ah, yeah.
I think also maybe just having, I don't know if you've seen, but you just become more like morning sessions, right? Like boxing, yoga, ice bath, like
Yeah.
there's a million difference of those.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think, especially like people that are strapped to booths, they have to be there 10 a.m. when it opens. So if there's some way somehow that it could be like morning marketing coffee or like something like that, maybe that could be helpful
Hmm.
in general. Otherwise, like if it comes to LinkedIn and what they should do type of marketing if they travel, I think, I mean, it's not a secret, selfies is like the best thing, just showing who you're meeting. I'm sure you have back-to-back meetings all day, or you have people coming up in the booth, like just show who you're meeting. It was nice to meet this person, he works at a, you're helping other people.
Yeah.
I think that is a great way to go. Like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Like,
Hmm.
and then type of content that is great if you are a marketer working for a company, group photos. Like, you have to, in general, as much faces as you can. If you
Yeah.
can show a face, you're gonna have a much more success rate than if you do no photo, or like, a photo of food or whatever.
Oh God, or just an empty booth.
Yeah, an empty booth. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I die. I get it. I get it. But yeah, if we could just put a couple bodies in there,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
yeah.
It goes a long way. Yeah. I think sometimes those marketers who are younger or starting out, or honestly, I talk to people all the time and they're like, "Oh no, no, that's not me. Like I'm not going to be posting
Mhm.
on LinkedIn or whatever." And I think in there they're kind of reverting to just relying on the company doing what they do for like from like the company's page.
Mhm.
And I do think that's a lot of employers' opinions as well. Like, oh,
Yeah.
well, we got it covered. Like, we got the corporate page. It's fine. Just reshare stuff from there. But really, there's such an advantage to posting yourself. Like, you're going to get so much more reach if you post on your own than just resharing something from the company. But also, you're reaching a whole different audience that is unique to you and
Mhm.
not just unique to your corporate company page. But what would you say to those people who are like, oh, I'm just, it's not for me. Like, I don't, who are maybe embarrassed about it. First of all, we're all embarrassed. It's all cringy.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't get over that, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But what would you say to them?
your first 100 posts are gonna suck, but just get through them and
Yes.
then it's gonna be good,
Yeah.
right? Like you have to start somewhere and then start at number one and get up, and then on number 100 you're not gonna suck anymore.
Yeah.
So no, but no, I agree. I think I've been also with companies that said they don't want their employees to post on LinkedIn, or like kind of like forbid, because they don't want the employees to be approached by recruiters.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make any sense to me. So like I have this, I call it the office theory.
Okay.
Okay. It's not a real theory, but like I made it up. Okay.
It's a theory because you said it was.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
But you know the TV show The Office, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
everyone knows it.
Yes.
And you don't like all the characters, right? But you're gonna start liking one, and because that one character's story is intertwined with all the other story, you start liking the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same theory. Like I think that's what all the B2B marketing brands should be doing in the future. Like I understand that you don't want your employees maybe to post, but you need the CTO to post, the CFO to post, the CEO to post, like everyone, directors, even like lower employees. And through them, they will find an audience that starts following them. And then, oh, she works for that company. I'm going to start following that company. And that person also works there. And through that, they're going to start talking. Oh, actually, I know a company that does what they do because I follow one person on LinkedIn. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's about spreading it out through
Mm-hmm.
different channels. And as well, it's a free channel, LinkedIn. Like it doesn't cost anything unless you do LinkedIn Premium, which is also very good.
I pay that $40 every month, and I'm not upset. I'm not upset about it. It's totally worth it for me.
66. So,
oh my God.
But I don't know if you've seen they launched like something new that is like Business Plus. And then you get like 40, at least in Europe. So I pay 66 euros and then I get 40 euros that I can use to boost like posts.
Ah.
But
Hey,
I've used it twice. It hasn't
Okay.
really helped.
Okay.
But I mean, in general, like you don't need LinkedIn Premium. Like you just need
Right.
those. If you're a company, you want people to post about their daily life, working
Yes.
for you, what projects they have. Like it gives, the more eyes you get, the
Mhm.
more success you're gonna get, kind of.
Yeah, for sure. And I know some companies, they'll send out, like bits of copy that you can use for your posts. I would just say maybe we just like rough it up a little bit so it's not like a copy paste from the doc, because we can kind of tell if it doesn't quite sound like you. But yeah, I like what you said about your first 100 posts being terrible. I still think I'm in my 100 post era and they're still bad. They're still bad.
No, you did fantastic. And I was thinking about it today. Like you do very much like fun posts, like educational, but like also a little bit like sarcastic. Like that's your style. But I love it, and I think we need to have more fun, and it's an entertainment industry, right? Like
Yeah,
so.
we're making games. Like
Yeah.
it should be fun. I don't
Yeah.
understand why we're so uptight about this.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I completely agree. But I know a lot of people are very nervous about hurting the company image or
course.
employers worried about that,
Yeah.
which I totally think you can absolutely create like guardrails and healthy boundaries for your employees, but also encourage them to post, especially if you're in sales. I mean,
Mhm.
please, I do not understand why we're not doing that. All right, well, we're gonna change gears a little bit and do a
Okay.
little rapid fire.
Okay.
So this is just like you got to pick one or the other,
Mhm.
and we don't need like a big explanation on why.
All right.
But this is recorded for the rest of time, so just like
Okay.
keep that in
I
mind.
gotta be
No
careful.
pressure. Brand marketing or performance marketing?
Brand marketing.
Speed to market or thoughtful execution?
Thoughtful execution.
Okay, explaining TikTok to executives or explaining compliance to creatives?
Explaining compliance to creators.
Data or gut instinct?
Data.
Okay. Big campaigns or an always on presence?
Big campaigns.
Education or entertainment?
Education.
Content that builds trust or content that drives action?
Content that drives trust.
Okay. Centralized brand or local market nuance?
Local market nuance.
The industry moves too fast or too slow?
Too slow.
I don't know why I put that in there. We already knew that one. Marketing is getting better or more complicated?
More complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And Instagram or LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Okay, I guess I should say for personal and for professional. So for professional,
Yeah, LinkedIn.
yeah, no,
Personal
yeah.
Instagram, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
yeah. We don't need to cross those. We don't
No,
need to.
but I also I'm seeing a huge switch from LinkedIn to Instagram and Facebook. Like, I don't know what it is, but in the last year, I've had so many people add me on Instagram and LinkedIn
Mhm.
or Facebook. And I think it has to do with people want to see behind the scenes of what I'm doing on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
which I'm trying to jump on now. I'm trying to post more on Instagram, but I don't know. It's still like my personal Instagram,
Yeah.
So I'm also like cautious when I see who wants. I have a closed Instagram, so like not
Yeah.
anyone can follow me.
Mhm.
But I'm seeing a lot of big profile that's finding me on Instagram and Facebook. So I don't know, something's happening.
Yeah.
And WhatsApp as well has been like all these meta apps. I don't know what it is. WhatsApp as well has come like some kind of huge communities there. Lots of like insider talk and like tips.
Is that a European thing, or am I just not invited to these?
No, I think it's a European thing
Okay,
though,
okay.
because no one is
I feel better about
talking
that. Yeah.
during our nights, right, when you're awake.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it is it is a European
That's true.
thing.
That's true.
But it is, I don't know what happened. Like, it's been so many different groups now. There's the Next.io group, there's Papa group, there's iGaming Roundtable, iGaming Real Talk, there's iGaming Banter, there's like so many different, but all of them also have like mini communities with like like investor chat
I
or
see.
like startups or marketing, and like I really enjoy them. I just find myself a little bit overwhelmed because I'm getting messages like all the time, and
Yeah. Do you have your notifications turned off?
I turn them off now over ice.
I would absolutely have those off. ASAP. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, like it's because it's a lot of messages, but I haven't really, because I felt like I wanted to be in it. I don't want to miss anything. I get FOMO,
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, you guys have been talking all day about like, and when the Playtech and evolution thing happened, like everyone was talking. I felt like I have so many discussions going on, like I am missing
Yeah.
out. And you don't see those heavy subjects being discussed in the same way on LinkedIn, I feel like.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because you have to be careful. You can't say all of
Yes.
these.
Yes.
So that's why, like, maybe people are more open. And I think that's a change I've seen in the industry as well. Like, going back to how it's changing, like, it's become a lot more transparent. And I think maybe it has to do that we are a younger generation who, like, we really want to make sure that we help each other, but also the players. We want it to work long term. We don't want any stigma anymore. We don't want it to be a shady industry. And the only way to do that is to bring everything out in the light.
Yeah, for sure. I commend you for keeping your notifications on, because I have my notifications turned off for everything.
Okay.
Everything. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'll get to it when I get to it, but I don't. Yeah, so I'll go back to group chats that are like, 150 messages deep, and I'm like, I don't think I needed to be a part of that. So maybe WhatsApp is not the place for me.
Maybe.
But I love that they're having real conversations that are, genuine and.
I think I mean, there's also Discord, and Telegram, and like, but I can't.
Oh,
Are
so
you
many
using
apps.
those?
No, I'm not using those.
I-
Girl, I can barely handle WhatsApp. We already established this. I'm not adding any more apps to my lineup.
No,
I can barely handle what I've got.
and then there's WeChat in Asia. Like, there's all of these. I do believe community is like the future of marketing.
Yeah.
So like, I want to understand it. I want to get into it, but I get overwhelmed. Like I
Yeah.
like you. I see all of those 150 messages.
Yeah.
Like, but I try to go through them though. But like, if I don't see my name, I usually just scroll by.
Yeah. Not important.
Yeah.
Moving on. Do you have any good gaming stories?
Gaming stories. Well, one of the biggest moments in my career, I think, was when I started working in the US. So I'm born in Indonesia, but I grew up in Sweden. So naturally, when I started in the industry, I was a Swedish customer support agent. And like, I joined the industry when I was 18. So I had like no experience, nothing. I
Fresh.
thought, I thought it was going to be like a 6-month gig. Like, most of my friends went to Asia, like backpacking, and I was like, no, I'm gonna earn money 6 months instead. And it turned into 15 years, but whatever. And I think when I learned about that the Swedish regulation was going to come into place, and if you don't know, the Swedish regulation is super tough. It came into place in 2019, and it's one of the strictest regulations, where basically you're only allowed to give players $100, let's say, as a welcome bonus, and that's it. No more cashback, no
Mm.
like reloads, free spins, nothing. They're also the limiting, so you can't like do bonus bets, you can't do like fast, speedy bets, like you can't play several games at the same time. Like it's very, very restricted. And me coming from in that time, I was working with VIP marketing. Like I knew I was screwed. Like no one's gonna need a VIP like marketer in Sweden. So by accident, I wanted to move to Spain, and we had an office in Spain. So I applied to start working with anything that was opening like in the Spain office. And by accident, I got a job to handle Hard Rock as an account and help them launch their online casino and sportsbook after PASPA was repealed in 2018. And that was like the best start. Like I couldn't have asked for a better time to join the US market. And especially being able to work in New Jersey, that I was already like so gambling focused. It was really, really fun. But I remember when I started working with Hard Rock, one of my bosses, he was like, you guys don't understand like in Europe how it is to work with a regulated market. It's so different. La, la, la. And I was at the time super offended because I was like, I worked in the Maltese license and I work with the Danish license and yada yada yada. So I felt like I know what it's like working with regulation, but it's nothing compared to in the US and like how thorough you have to be when it comes to marketing. Everything
Mhm.
from terms and condition and reporting who wins and what they win, and like it's just a whole other game.
Yeah.
And I think it was really educational for me in that sense, like learning about compliance and everything else from a marketing perspective. Because in Europe, we're even though we're very regulated, like it's not in the same way. And I believe like it was a huge benefit for me to learn about the US. And since then, like I've worked with affiliation. I helped launched in 16 different states for sportsbook and iGaming. And I think the states have so much potential, especially when you compare to Europe. Because now, since 2019, when Sweden regulated, a lot of other European countries have taken after, like Germany. I don't know if you heard as well, it's super strict.
Yeah.
And Netherlands, like it's difficult to work in Europe now. Like it's very restrictive when it comes to marketing campaigns, to creating games, to even like being a player. So the black market has become huge here, and I don't want to see the same thing happen in the US. And that's why like I'm really passionate now, making sure that we learn from the mistakes I've seen, in making
Mhm.
sure that you don't have a big black market opening up where addicted players can come, or teenagers or anything like that. But yeah, that's my fun iGaming story of how I got into the US.
I love that. Well, you're like, we're going to turn this into a learning moment, actually, to a
Yeah.
teaching moment. So, who do you think should be on the podcast next?
Oh, who should be on the podcast next? There's so many really, really good ones.
Because you know pretty much everyone. Everyone. We had dinner the other night, and you're like, "Do you know this person? Do you know this person?" I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I got to see a picture of them, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're just so well connected. So I'm
Uh,
sure you've got some good ones.
I think Claire Adamo is fantastic. She's been in the industry like 25 years or something, maybe 20. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Super, super long time. Also, just like me, like came into the industry by chance. She's fantastic and someone you really need to have in your network. There's a great guy that is called Jason Rosenberg that also you should meet. He's based in Las Vegas. Fantastic. He used to be a poker player. Like a lot of these like dinosaurs in the industry used to be poker players, and then they got in, like started working for the operation. So he's a great guy that you should talk to as well.
I love that. Can we
Um
tell him you called him a dinosaur? Is that-
Speaking of dinosaurs, Bill Pascarelli, you need to speak to as well. But like a great guy and has so much experience. So yeah, those are the 3 suggestions I would say.
Yeah. And Bill also has the coolest kicks you've ever seen. Like his
I
sneaker game
know.
is strong. Yeah.
I know. But he's such a like down to earth guy. Like I was intimidated by him in the beginning. And then I was at an event and he came up to me and he said, I've seen you on LinkedIn. Like, I love your videos. You're so good. And I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. And like,
Yeah.
he's always so supportive and kind and not at all what you think that someone who's a lobbyist and like knows all the regulators and senators would be.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. All right. Well, they're officially invited on. So
oh.
yeah, but I will be telling him that you called him a dinosaur.
Oh.
I think that's great. That is great. But
well, I'm
yeah.
a mini dinosaur then.
Yes. Well, you know what? That's okay. We're all on our way. So that's fine. But I've loved chatting with you today, and I really appreciate you coming on. And I know this is early for Europeans, so thank you so much for braving the early rain to
Thank
come
you for
chat with
having
me.
me. It was so fun.
Yes.
And I'm so proud of you and I can't wait to see what you do with the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So we will be on the lookout for you on LinkedIn to see what you're doing next and all of your great posts. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful week at ICE.
You too. Thank you.